One. You are now tuned into the 94 by 50 / First and 10 podcast brought to you by us, Ilyas Kurbanov and Brandon Graham. Another March Madness insight and March Madness mania that we have right here. We're into the Sweet 16 after doing our 64, overview of the entire tournament, but now we're down to 16. And you know what's one good thing for Ilyas Kurbanov? The fact that his Michigan Wolverines somehow, some way, after Juwan Howard put his hands in the face of the assistant coach of Wisconsin, still reigns supreme right now in these in the tournament. And of course, they're going up against the highly touted Villanova Wildcats with Jay Wright. That great program right there. I'm going to start with them. Right? I want you to give me your take on Michigan in general and exactly what you've seen from these guys.
I think this whole matchup is going to be predicated on the adjustments that both teams are going to make. I think if you compare both teams, Villanova is fairly undersized. Mm-hmm. Villanova's tallest starter is 6'7", where we talk about Hunter Dickinson literally being 6'2", then Caleb Houston, who could stretch the floor at 6'8", playing the wing, knock down shots, get to the rim with ease. Then Diabate has been phenomenal on the offensive glass. There's a reason why he was an all Big Ten freshman team, right? But the experience of Villanova is going to be something you're going to have to look at with Colin Gillespie, at the helm of it all, like being the leader that he is. He is a national champion already. We know what he's able to bring out with Jay Wright, once again, leading that Villanova team to another high level, to another Sweet 16. And like we were talking about when they were playing Ohio State, Jay Wright is one of those coaches, bringing the guys, develop them, have them for a long period of time, and those guys buy in to win the tournament. They're not buying in to make the tournament. They're not buying in to go one and done. I don't remember the last time Villanova had a one and done. All the championship teams, when Chris Jenkins hit that game winner against North Carolina, Chris Jenkins was a senior. Archie Diacono was a senior. Jalen Brunson was a young gun and, a freshman. Then Mikal Bridges was a freshman. Then DiVincenzo wasn't even on a team yet.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And then all those guys come in, they develop, they lose the year after in the second round, and then they come back and they beat Michigan in a championship game.
Right.
Franz Wagner and Jordan Poole and Isaiah Livingston, all those guys. So
Great
I think
team.
it was a stacked team. That was a stacked team. But I think, like I said, it's going to come down a lot to who's going to be ready and more prepared to play in the game, because we know if Hunter Dickinson gets hot, it's really hard to stop him. He's a tremendous player. He was second team All-America last year. He was honorable mention this year. And obviously the freshman class that Juwan Howard has, with Frankie Collins stepping up big.
Frankie Collins
in the first round and the second round when Devontae Jones comes back, takes another hit to the head, sits the majority of the game, and Frankie Collins once again delivers off the bench. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I really like on that team. It keeps a steady pace, especially from the guard position. Brooks is a really good job. Brooks? He's been steady for a few years, man. I really like his game a lot. But yeah,
he's a shooter, knockdown shooter. Can't leave him open.
Can't leave Caleb Houston getting hot in the first game, right? Like against a team, Colorado State, which we thought was going to be a team that would run away with that game. But Juwan Howard had these guys playing and beating, Kennedy Chandler, Zakai Zilger, Jordan James, right? All those guys in that team playing really well in Tennessee. Rick Barnes is 25-25 as a head coach in the March Madness tournament. 25-25. Great coach, but just cannot get it done in the tournament for some odd reason. That was a great game. And of course, you've seen just Juwan Howard has those guys just playing at a high level. Hunter Dickinson is unbelievable. He can't really be stopped right now. But yeah, I'm assuming listen, I have my doubts. I thought they were not going to make it this far, but hey, what team gets hot, especially as a team that's doubted as a high seed, they can get rolling. That's exactly what you see with Michigan right now, right? So that's one
Right
thing
on.
too. I was asking you about your take about the team in general. Like, are you surprised about this? Or are you not surprised about
I'm not really surprised, to be honest. Like I said, when I had them go into the Sweet 16, at least, I really truly believe that because number one, they've had guys who've been in that situation. They have leaders like Eli Brooks, like you mentioned. That's not his first tournament. He's been to the Final Four. He's been to the Elite Eight. You know, he's been there. He has seen that so many times that his experience, his leadership, you just look and they're going, right? Hunter Dickinson in the tournament last year, he knows what it's like to be in that situation. He knows what's expected of him offensively and defensively. But I think the most of the credit has to go to Juwan Howard. Like his defensive mindset, that zone man zone, whatever,
great
that
set
coverage, you know, the 3-2, 3 on the top, 2 on the bottom. It's so fluent that everyone has ability to guard those spots. The only time I've seen that kind of fail is when they stretched out Hunter Dickinson against Colorado State and got those penetrations going. That's when they struggled. But overall, I think that zone is working for them, and that's the reason why they were able to keep Tennessee off the three-point line. They were able to force them to take the tough looks. And, you know, I think that's like I said, I was expecting that to happen. I knew Michigan is experienced and good enough to make at least to the Sweet 16. Now they have to play Villanova, another experienced team, like I said, and I had Villanova going through to the Elite Eight. So we'll see what happens.
So you're still with Villanova winning that game?
Absolutely.
Of course, because that's probably your team to win the entire tournament. Who knows at this point right now? Okay, so moving on from there, of course, that's your team. Going now to the other number one seed in the bracket as well too, and they believe they're in the West Division. Of course, you got the Gonzaga Bulldogs going up against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Okay, so that's actually happening on Thursday. It's supposed to be a really good game. JD Notae, Jalen Williams doing a really good job. Coach Muss doing a really good job with that team as well too, playing great defense, having being able to stretch the floor and obviously expose some of their defense. Going up against Gonzaga, you think Gonzaga is going to be in trouble? Because I think they're kind of going to be in trouble.
I mean, Gonzaga, there's a lot to expect from them, right? They have a chip on their shoulder. They're still looking for that tournament win. And by win, I mean the championship. They've been to the Final Four now on numerous occasions and, you know, lost twice in the championship game. So for Mark Few and the squad, it's going to be another challenge. You know, Arkansas has seen a lot of great competition in the SEC. The Volunteers, obviously Kentucky, who no one really expected to go down to St. Peter's, and teams like Alabama. You know, they had a lot of teams in the field, and they still have Arkansas advancing for that reason. They were good, they were prepared, and like you said, JD Notae, he's one of the prolific guards in the field, and I don't think he gets a lot of recognition because he can punish you from wherever you want on the floor. He's a good defensive player as well. And like you said, Jalen Williams, another power big who is a big presence, I think, who could potentially give troubles to Drew Timme on the inside because Timme is struggling shooting the ball, especially if you stretch the floor out a little more. But I think overall Gonzaga still has the up. They still have Chet Holmgren. They still have the experience. They have Andrew Nembhard, who can match up really well with JD Notae because he's slightly taller than Notae, and he has the IQ, he has the experience, like we said, and especially in the tournament. Experience is the one factor that absolutely is the most, I would say, disrespected factor. People don't pay attention. Everyone goes with the talent. Everyone thinks, shooting ability, or we have a one-and-done prospect. But guess what? A lot of those one-and-dones that we're talking about were out in that very second round. So
absolutely. And Andrew Nembhard is a former SEC player as well too, so he knows how the tough SEC actually rose in Florida, and he's played great from the tournament in the SEC tournament 2 years ago, and now, of course, being in the tournament. So him, Drew Timme, Chet Holmgren doesn't have the experience, but that team overall, Mark Few, they're a very poised team going up against Memphis with Durant and those boys that are able to really stretch the floor there shooting-wise. It was a really good game. And if they got through Memphis that way, like, they can definitely get through a number of these guys. Because, once again, Memphis is a very athletic team that can stretch you out. They found a way to win the game. Drew Timme trying his hardest not to swear in the post-game press conference. But no, they've done a good job. They've shown that they can definitely play with some of the more explosive teams out there. So I'm going to take Gonzaga to win. I have Gonzaga going through. You have Gonzaga as well?
I have Gonzaga going through. Yeah, I have Gonzaga going to the Final Four, and there's no secret about it. I think most of the brackets at this point, I would say 90% of the brackets have them in a Final Four.
Yeah, no, 110%.
If not more.
Yeah, and what you have right now is you have another number 1 seed in the southern bracket with the Arizona. Oh my gosh, Wildcats going up against the Houston Cougars. This is gonna be a great one. I think one of the best games, probably my favorite game to watch, was that TCU Arizona game. I just thought it was unbelievable. Ben Mathurin, shout out to the 504. It's the 504, right? 504? 514. I saw Lugans Dortz, shutting him out, bigging him up. He said he looks up to Chris Boucher, and Lou Dort is coming from Montreal. He is tough. Kiloko is tough. That team is just ready to go at all times. Terry is tough. They have some guys in that team, man. So yeah, what was your take about the TCU game and what you can expect from them going up against Moore? I believe Elijah Moore. You have Edwards, a really good team that Kelvin Sampson's done a good job with over there.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a nail biter for both teams. It's a close game. It's a tough way to lose if you're at TCU, and it's a great way to win for Arizona. Now they're battle tested. They know what it's like to be on that very, very edge of the losing side. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they still came out with a win, and Ben Mathurin playing spectacular that entire game, leading them through the Horned Frogs. And he's going to be a factor in this game once again. But we know Kelvin Sampson is a defensive mindset coach. He knows how to handle those type of players. And the fact that Houston is playing without 2 of their best players in Marcus Sasser and he was supposed to be the guy.
Sasser was the guy. Sasser was
the guy before he gone down. He played 32 minutes, shooting 43, close to 44% from 3. He can create his own shot, and not having him in the tournament is definitely a factor for this team. But it's that team that plays with grind, grinds it out. They will battle it out. They'll die for every single loose ball. They will do anything in their power to get those defensive stops. And I think that's going to be something to look for is Houston. If Houston is playing the same way they played in the second round, getting those stops, just grinding it out, they have a chance to win this game. They really do. But Arizona has a lot of talent, and it's going to be interesting for sure.
That's my thing, right? Because going up against Illinois, you're going up against guys that were strong. You got Frazier, of course. You have Kofi Coburn, but you have other guys in that team that were really able to stretch the floor as well in Illinois. So going up and beating them by pretty much 15 points, of course, it's not indicative of what happened, but that was a tough game, and they had to make timely shots to get through it. And without Sasser, he's an NBA guy in my eyes, right? So
he definitely is.
Yeah, of course,
absolutely.
It's just Kelvin Sampson's just a really good coach, man. Puts them in the right positions. Moore is playing incredible lefty. He's getting to the basket. They're playing complementary basketball. They run really good sets as well, too. So Arizona's going to have another tough test. But I think Arizona will prevail and, of course, go on to most likely play your Michigan Wolverines or the Villanova Wildcats, which is going to be an incredible game as well, too. So that's the one I'm definitely looking forward to. But I got Arizona and a 514. Ah oui, monsieur, ah oui. Je parle français, just in étudiant en démonstration français. Mais I love the Arizona Wildcats in that game. All right, moving right on to another division right here. We're going to go all the way down to the East Division, which is pretty much like the division of death, I would say. Not necessarily. It's just it's a really tough division. Of course, you've got the Duke Blue Devils going up against the Texas Red Raiders, Texas Tech Red Raiders. This is going to be an incredible game. And I think, honestly, Duke got by Michigan State. Oh, am I talking about the West? No, I'm talking about the –
Yeah, Duke and Texas Tech are in the West.
Oh, oh, w- sorry. I'm looking at Kentucky. My fault. The West, yes, the Midwest. My bad. I'm talking about Kentucky. I don't know why I was actually saying that, but yes, going back to there. Yes, they're in the West. My
Okay,
goodness,
let's
they're in
go
the
to the
West.
West. Let's just stick with
Let's
the
go to the
West.
West. Let's just stick with the West then. Let's just stick with the West. So with this game right here, getting by Tom Izzo, all right, getting by that team, which had some great players, right? Coach K, a lot of people are saying that he likes to make everything about himself, but in Texas Tech versus Duke Blue Devils, I got the Red Raiders going by. I don't know what you, but I got the Red Raiders actually win this game because it's a really young Duke team. Paulo Banchero can be the best player on the floor at all times if he wants to, but he shies away from the moment sometimes, if you probably noticed. And he doesn't necessarily make all of his mid-range shots when he create separation depending on who they have on him. I got Texas Tech because I love Chris Beard's in the defensive mindset team. They're a senior team. Who do you have, man?
Chris Beard, by the way, is in Texas.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah. Former Texas Tech guy.
But I would say I definitely have Texas Tech as well. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. And, beating Montana State by like 30 points and then holding Notre Dame to 53 after Cormac Ryan had career high in the first round, right? And dropping 30 points, shooting the tray ball like I haven't seen it in a while in the tournament, right? They shutting him down and the rest of the Notre Dame squad with Atkinson Jr. inside, who had a great game as well in the first round. And guys like Bryce Williams, Kevin O'Banner, the transfer
really
from Oral Roberts, who was the 15th seed last year going to the Sweet 16 after beating your Ohio State and Florida Gators
you have to bring that up, man.
in that tournament. But
shout out to EJ
Liddell. Those players are fantastic, and those guys have been battle tested. They battled it out with Kansas on numerous occasions in the Big 12, including the Big 12 tournament game, which Kansas obviously ended up taking. Then they handled Baylor, and obviously we saw Baylor lose in the second round to UNC after making a massive comeback, being down 25. Yeah. That game was that game was phenomenal. And, like you said, experience. Once again, there's a lot of experience going up against Paolo Banchero, who could get hot and play it out. But then you cannot forget about Wendell Moore Jr. He has been on the team for 3 years. He tweeted out, it's like, I've been waiting for this moment for so long. For these all 3 years that I've been on the team, I've really been waiting for this moment. And now you are in the moment. And can they deliver? Absolutely they could. They still have one of the greatest, if not the greatest college coach of all time in Coach K. So it's going to be one of those games that could go either way, but I have to stick with Texas Tech as I had them going to the Elite Eight. But like I said, it could go either way.
Absolutely. And Mark Adams, my apologies. Mark Adams, the head coach of the Texas Tech Red Raiders, all right, doing a great job with that team. I just think they have great leadership on that end. They make timely shots, and they have a really good press, and they do a really good job of actually pressuring the ball as well too. So I love defensive basketball. I love it, obviously making it 3-2.
They're 8th in the country for opposing points per game. Their hold opponents to 60, and they're 34th. They are 40th in steals.
40th in steals, right.
However, Duke takes care of the ball a little better. So,
yes, right. They're net ranked actually 9th in the country as well too, right? Which is incredible. And they're 7-4 against top 25 teams. Do a really good job of stopping, teams from scoring a lot as well too. So, just a very, very. They just haven't missed a beat since Chris Beard has transitioned into Mark Adams. I just have them going through. I just think the experience. I like Roach on the Blue Devils as well too. All the guard plays really good. And yes, everyone says Coach K is a great coach, and of course he is. He's won the most ever. But the sets sometimes I question the sets he runs. Sometimes trying to get an open guy. They run a lot of off ball and do different action. But my team, the team that I love watching the most right now in this tournament, you can probably guess it. St. Peter's, okay? St. Peter's, the St. Peter's Peacocks of New Jersey, New York, are going up against the Purdue Boilermakers. And this is a game I cannot wait to watch because I love Doug Edert. I love it. Daryl Banks the third. Hey, Coach is a great coach as well, too. I love that game. Hey, who do you have win this game? How do you see this game actually playing out? Jaden Ivey and whatnot.
It's gonna be interesting. It's kind of one of those things. Do I want the number 15 seed to go to the first ever Elite Eight, or do I want Purdue to go through because they are a competitive team and they are one of those teams that could make to the Final Four and could make that championship run?
Yeah.
Right. So it's gonna be it's you either go with your heart or you go with your mind.
Yeah.
And my mind says Purdue is gonna win. And there's a lot of factors that you can bring into that one. And one of them is Jaden Ivey, one of the best scorers in the country, one of the best players in the country, let alone scorers. And obviously having Travion Williams coming off the bench, the dual threat, can play defense and offense. Then you have Zach Edey on the inside. That team is peaking at the right time, I believe. So it's going to be hard for St. Peter's to, overcome that one. Because Purdue, I believe, in my opinion, was better than Kentucky and still is better than Kentucky, and they're most definitely better than Murray State on paper and record-wise. And, if we bring all the analytics and all the metrics, everyone will tell you Purdue is just better.
Right.
So
right.
I go with my mind, and my mind says Purdue, but my heart will definitely say St. Peter's. Who wouldn't want to see a 15 seed in the Elite Eight?
Yeah, of course. Hey, Hassan Drame, okay? Not only him, Daryl Banks III, Doug Edert, these guys are folklore. These guys are the story of the term right now. Fusami Drame as well, too. Great. These guys, listen, they play with toughness. They model their coach, obviously. They do a really good job there. But, yes, it's going to be really hard to get by lottery pick Jaden Ivey, getting by Zach Edey, of course, who has his minutes, obviously, modified throughout the tournament. And that coach is notorious for just having guys on minute stretches and counts. Travion Williams is obviously amazing. I, of course, have Purdue going through, but I would love to see the St. Peter's Peacocks win that game. So that's
you pretty much got to listen to your heart or your mind, like we were saying, right? So it's gonna be interesting.
Going to be incredible. Okay, moving on. We're going to go to the number 1 seed over here in the Kansas Jayhawks going up against the Providence Friars. Hey, this game is going to be. I think coach has done a really good job over there in with the Providence Friars, and they've done a really good job. They got some great guard play, some veterans as well too. Who do you have winning this game?
Well, this one is tricky. I had Kansas going to the Final Four regardless, but when we talk about experience, this is the ultimate experience. You have 6 or 7 seniors that Providence has.
Yes.
And 5 of them are starters.
Yeah.
Talk about more experience. But at the same time, you look at Kansas, Abaji is a senior. McCormack is another senior. Martin is a senior.
That's him. Yep.
Right? Lightfoot is a senior. So there's a lot of experience in those players who've been in the tournament and showed a lot of strides over the years. And Kansas is just rolling. If you talk about Kansas, if they beat Texas Tech, they beat all those guys in a Big 12. Obviously, that uncharacteristic loss to Kentucky at Kansas in the SEC Big 12 Challenge, one of those things that wasn't expected and really surprised a lot of analysts and fans and everyone across the board, players.
It happens.
But at the end of the day, after that game, Kansas has looked better and better and better as weeks gone by. And now we're in March, and it's going to be one of those games once again, that'll come down to the factor of who wants him more, I think, in my opinion, because, Jared Bynum has been amazing for Providence, and Minaya was,
Nice, been really good. Yeah.
shooting 42% from the field, but, the defensive presence averages almost a block and a steal a game, right? And then Harchler with 7 rebounds a game. Eight and a half rebounds a game, 7 of them defensive rebounds. So it's a really defensive-minded team. So, it's gonna. Can you take care of Abaji? That's gonna be the number one problem. The rest, you're gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those like grinded out games, but I just trust Remy Martin, man. Remy Martin is just I just see Remy Martin as just that leader that they're going to, he's going to kind of take them to the promised land, right? He does a really good job over there, and hey, they're going to be really, really tough to kind of take down. So I got Kansas Jayhawks going forward. I think we both do in that particular matchup. All right, now going to another really good team. It's obviously a really good matchup as well too. Right here, we got the Miami Hurricanes going up against the Iowa State Cyclones. This one's going to be interesting, right? Team, of course, you have Isaiah Wong playing really good. Larinaga has those guys playing at the right tempo, right? And getting down the floor, they get a lot of points in transition as well, too. Man, I know you like both of these teams. I know Ohio State is a defensive-minded team. Every team at this point has to be defensive-minded because to get through to this point, must be a good defensive team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What do you have? What do you see about this game, man?
Well, it's funny we talk about this game because I don't think neither of us had them in a Sweet 16.
No, not at all.
Right? Obviously, we had Auburn. I had Auburn going to the Sweet 16. That's for sure.
Me too.
But both of the teams are really peaking at the right time, especially Miami. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Cameron McGusty is cooking.
Going off. He's
going off. Averaging 17 and a half, 5 boards, And then the transfer, Charlie Moore stepping in, senior, another experienced guy. And, when you look at these guys, both on Iowa State and obviously the Hurricanes, I wasn't expecting that to happen. So it's really hard to base my opinion on one or the other, but because both of them fairly even. Both of them are respectively the 10 and the 11 seed. So it's going to be very interesting to see as how it's going to play out. So, but I'm going to roll with the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I'm going to roll the Hurricanes. Just they really took it to Auburn. Like, Kessler could not get anything going at all. He was getting stripped. They're on him the entire time. The guard as well, too, Wheeler, he had a really tough time because they're just bigger guards. Like Isaiah Wong's about 6'5", right? Going down, cramming it on the likes of Jabari Smith. They just have some really good balance, complementary basketball that they play with, and they make shots as well, too. And they get the ball inside. So I just think Auburn was just beat from the start to finish. Absolutely. It wasn't even embarrassing. It was more so like, the team's just more physical. They just wanted it more. So, and Larinaga has them really, and he even said it's like he didn't want to see a shirtless Bruce Pearl if they were to win, right? So just took it right to them. And hey, as a 10 seed right now, like a lot of these, Iowa State and Miami, I have Miami going through, but man, both of these teams are just like they're slept on. You see these higher teams kind of take it, play with a chip on their shoulder, and both programs are used to winning as well too, right? So, it's one of those things where both these coaches will definitely go at it. It'll be a really interesting time, right? But yeah, once again, Iowa State. When I think of Iowa State, I think of Morris, who's on the Denver Nuggets right now, Melvin Ejim, those times when he used to go off. Guy, of course, from Canada as well too, Wellington, doing really good. Well, Iowa State's Liddell Winnington, have some really good players coming out of Ohio State. So I'm not going to be surprised if they win again. Now going on to my game of the week. Okay, this is my game of the week, and this is actually our last game that we have on the slate right now. The UNC Tar Heels, Caleb Love, RJ Davis, these guys that played, just took it, really, really took it to Of course, oh my gosh, man. They just had a great game the Baylor Bears, of course. I can't believe I messed up on that. And of course, going up against St. Mary's, who was a really, really good team. They're actually a really poised team with Johnson over there. They got some guys from Australians that play really well. UCLA Bruins, Yami Hopkins has a bum ankle right now, but he's day-to-day. He should be good. But Tiger Cannonball, Johnny Juzang got hot, right? Cody Riley played really well. This team, and of course, my guy Bernard is playing really well too. I remember watching him back when he was in high school. This is my game of the week. Okay, I don't know who's going to win. I have UCLA going through, but what do you think about this game, man?
Well, I have UCLA going through as well, and it's just another team with a chip on their shoulder. There's another team that's looking for revenge, who's looking for blood. Yeah. The guys. If you remember last year in Indianapolis when Jalen Suggs hit that bank buzzer beater, if you looked at the faces of Juzang, Hawkes, Tiger Campbell, you saw that they were heartbroken. There was no secret about it, And then Mick Cronin comes back and gets this UCLA team going again. And the only team that was better than them in the Pac-12 was Arizona.
Yep.
Arizona was hot. Arizona clicked. Arizona just won everything. Won the regular season title, including the Pac-12 championship. But it's really the chip and that heartbreaking moment that still lingers on their hearts. There's no way they're not thinking about it every single day. There's no way. Especially during this tournament. So for me, if I was in their shoes, which I'm obviously not, but it would be one of those things that I would constantly think about. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm back in this moment, to get revenge and to win it all again, to bring that national championship back to California, because we know UCLA has a ton of them.
Yep, they do. Yep.
They're facing a hot UNC team. And it's going to be interesting to see, is Manic going to shoot lights out again? Who
knows? Yeah.
Because UCLA, as much as we hate it, UCLA might have had a better defensive season than, a lot of people might not agree with me, but I think UCLA had a better defensive season than Baylor had. Right. Obviously Baylor is playing in a Big 12, and there's a lot of maybe disparity in the comment that I'm making right now. But before Manic went out, there was no defense whatsoever. They were getting exposed left and right against UNC. And then Manic goes out, and all of a sudden, who's going to shoot the ball now? And then Caleb Love is getting fouled out.
Yeah, he struggled as well too. Yeah,
he struggled as well. Yeah. But then if you look at it, who stepped up? Davis.
RJ Davis. RJ Davis had a game
and had 30 points.
Yep, RJ Davis.
Not more. I might be missing something right now, but nonetheless, he just snapped and showed. Yeah, we're not here to lose. We're going to take this game to the overtime, and I'm going to show you that I'm not losing it for my guys. And that's exactly what happened. But I had UCLA going through, even if they would have had to face Baylor.
Right.
So I'm going to have them rolling through the UNC Tar Heels as well.
I didn't see the Baylor Bears really going that far because I just didn't think they had a good interior presence. They had a lot of guys that can stretch the floor, of course, and play really. But I just think Scott Drew tweeted something out saying there's never been a team that's won the championship one year and that's come back and done it again. It's really loser talk. I don't know why.
Except Florida.
Except Florida. I was just about to say, I remember watching that Florida team playing against Brock here in Canada, and of course with Joakim Noah. A bunch of these guys that played. Oh my God, Al Horford, right, and a few other guys that played in the league for. Oh my gosh,
Corey Brewer. That team was stacked.
Corey Brewer, and they had Sproles as well too. The guy that played on the used to play on the Golden State Warriors as well too for many years. That team was unbelievable, right?
Stacked.
But Scott Drew tweeting that out was very loser talk, right? You tweet that out from your burner account and then retweet it. So anyway, Scott Drew was doing a lot of. But with this game, Caleb Love. I remember watching him in high school. This guy was the most highly touted guard coming out of high school for a long time. he's got to play better. He's got to actually take it to Tiger Campbell. Of course, RJ Davis has to get hot as well too. Listen, that team was on the bubble, and now they're actually in the Sweet 16. So it just shows.
Also, can't forget Armando Beckett.
Beckett is obviously great.
He's had their back. He has to make free throws.
Yes, he's missed a lot.
And no, down the stretch, he missed 3 out of 4 when he could have put the game away.
Yeah, exactly. So you got that. Let me just pull this right up as well too. There's a really cool stat that I found. But Jules Bernard, he's actually been shooting around 50% right thus far. He's playing really well. And last year definitely struggled in the tournament. Now has the experience. Johnny Juzang, I thought, played a lot better last year, but he's playing really well. He made a lot of timely shots down the stretch against St. Mary's. But they're going to have to step up because Jaime Jaquez might not be 100%, and he will not be 100%. So I love UCLA. I love what Mick Cronin's done. They played really well defensively as well, too, rotating in Coley Riley, who's played a lot better defensively and offensively as well, too. So I have them going through, but that's my game of the Sweet 16. And I could be wrong, but I think that's definitely one. And you brought up the Pac-12. Pac-12 is actually doing really well, considering that they do get a lot of flack for being like a weaker conference in football and in basketball. Arizona and UCLA, the top 2 teams in Pac-12, still being in the Sweet 16. That's a huge for the conference, right? And I was going to ask you, which conference you think does the best in this tournament, or has been the most impressive in this tournament? Because you have the Big 10, the Big 12, you're seeing the Baylor going out, Texas going out. You still have Texas Tech, and you still have Iowa State. But which conference has been the most impressive, you think?
I think the most impressive, if you look at the numbers and how many teams remain in the tournament, you have to go with the ACC. Because UNC brought it in. Honestly, if Manic, like I said, if Manic stays in the game, they're just dismantling Baylor. A really good Baylor team. Right. And then Duke is still in there. Then the Hurricanes pull off an upset against Auburn. You cannot ignore that factor, and they're the 3 teams. ACC did not get a lot of teams this year in, right? Notre Dame had an impressive run, making it to the second round. You know what I mean? So you have to roll with the ACC, regardless of how bad the ACC was this year. They're doing really good. They're doing amazing in the tournament. And like you said, the Big 10 most of the times gets the most teams. Right. They had 9 again this year, even 10. I believe 9 or 10.
Yeah, I think it was 10, 9 or 10. Yeah.
So if you think about it, and now who's in there? Purdue,
Purdue, and Michigan.
That's right.
It. Yeah.
Illinois. They're fighting Illinois.
Yeah, fighting Illinois. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And with you have the Big East with Providence and Villanova playing really well as far as you have that. The American Conference, man. Memphis and Houston were still in it. If they both got through, we would be talking with the American Conference as well too, right? That would be incredible. Don't sleep on them, man. They might.
Most definitely. I mean, you can't really sleep on Houston. Like we said, without Marcus Sasser, the leading scorer of the team, the whole pretty much, I would say 80% of the year was without him. Mm-hmm. And that's impressive what Kelvin Sampson was able to do with that squad, right? So it's really, I think ACC overall is doing the best. I have to give that to them. Pac-12 obviously is doing good with Arizona and UCLA, but that was to me, that was kind of expected. 2 teams really hot, like especially with Arizona, really hot all year, and a lot of people have them in a Final Four, I'm pretty sure, including myself. So it's one of those things where Pac-12 has been weak based on the losses that they have got, but those 2 teams have been fantastic all year long. So
yeah, definitely have been great. Hey man, March Madness has been incredible. It's just the best time of the year, man. Best weekends, best time of the year when it comes to just entertainment, right? There's nothing that compares to this at all, right?
March is the best month. As our good friend John Rotherstein will say, we sleep in May.
We sleep in May. Wait, John Rothstein, he knows what he knows what he talks about, right?
He knows exactly.
Right. So, like, judging from what you currently have seen, out of all these teams that are currently in it, which team do you expect to win the tournament, and which team do you expect to be the most surprising right now, with the biggest surprise? So, out of the field that you see right now, which team do you think has what it takes or should be the ones to win this tournament?
Well, I mean, if I had to roll with a team, you can't really say no to any of the number one seeds. All Gonzaga, Kansas, and Arizona all have everything that it takes. They have the guys, they have the players, they have everything. There's no fine line that makes them look bad or or something that doesn't work for them. They obviously all had close games, bad games throughout the year, but they have what it takes. Villanova has what it takes. They have the experience. They got Jay Wright. We talked about that. Providence, obviously, with the senior squad. Then Texas Tech, one of the best defensive teams in the country, still in the tournament. You can't say no to them. Purdue with Jaden Ivey being the leading star and one of the best players in the country as well. Like I said, UCLA is another team that's with a chip on their shoulders. But you can't forget the underdogs, right? Like, we don't expect the 11s and the 10s and 15 seeds to go past Sweet 16 often, right? And because that normally doesn't really happen, especially with, St. Peter's obviously is one of the teams that we can say is the least favorite to win and most likely advance through to the Elite Eight, but never say never, as we've seen a bunch of Cinderella stories in previous years. But I think the most equipped teams are the number one seeds right now in Gonzaga, Kansas, and Arizona. That's my take. And eventually I still have Gonzaga winning just because of the past. They still are looking for that win, and I think this year might be the year.
I got Arizona rolling, man. Ben Mathurin, Koloko. I'm sorry, but Lloyd's got those guys playing really well.
Tommy Lloyd has done a phenomenal job. First year head coach, 2 losses in the conference and in the conference schedule. There's nothing more you can ask.
Yeah, I just think they run the best back cuts in the league. They just won great sets. They run great back cuts. They're all athletic. They're all well conditioned. But let me give a shout out to Shaheen Holloway, the head coach of the St. Peter's Peacocks. A former guard at Seton Hall as well too. So he's a New York guy. He even said in an interview with Part of My Take is, hey, I recruit guys from the area, Philly, New York, New Jersey. I get guys that are tough. My guys think that they should be on the Kentuckys. They think they should be on these blue blood teams, and they're doing their best, and they got great guard play. They run, in my opinion, the most impressive sets I've seen this tournament. Getting Doug Eder off 2 ball screens, having them run a little slash motion action, of course, right to the basket after faking to set a screen. Shaheen Holloway's done an incredible job, and I'm assuming he should get obviously a call to become a head coach at Seton Hall or a Big East team, for instance.
Seton Hall job is available, by the way.
Yeah, exactly, and I think he's going to probably jump forward and do that. So, and he got a promotion, he got a recommendation by a guy. So, hey, Shaheen Holloway, shout out to them, shout out to St. Peter's Peacocks. They have a facility that is right beside classes, so they can't even play music too loud because classes are actually linked up right beside their basketball gym. So imagine that team.
Talk about a small school, right?
Small school, lowly funded, in the Sweet 16. Cannot believe it. It's going to be incredible, man. But hey, you have anything else to say?
I mean, I guess go blue in that case. But, but yeah, I mean, hey, we shall see. I can't wait. Can't wait for tomorrow. 4 massive games, and what more can you ask? Like, really?
This is March.
This
is March, man.
Arkansas Gonzaga is going to be the first game of the night, starting at 7:09 Eastern, and then I don't one thing I don't understand: why can't they stretch the games out?
Yeah,
they have 2 within the span of 30 minutes apart.
Yeah,
because
not
Michigan is going to
minutes
Villanova.
apart. 20 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, if you ask me, I don't want to switch between games.
I don't want that either.
I want to watch all of them. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those, like one of those things I couldn't understand, but I guess it's a Thursday, so people won't be home to watch those games.
Right.
But because if you look at the Friday times, never mind. They're also the same.
Same thing. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all, and I think they should definitely isolate them, just to give it more shine. But I get it though, because like it's giving you the same feeling you had from last weekend, where you're seen 5 games at a time or 4 games at a time, and you have to kind of decide what you're gonna do, right?
I had a game on my laptop. I had 2 games on 2 of my TVs in the living room, streaming 1 game off my Xbox, then the other one airplaying from my phone. Then you have to play another. It's a whole puzzle.
It's a puzzle, man. Listen.
You
the
can't
bracket.
do anything else. You can't do anything else. And then you have to tweet it in between. You're like, oh, dude, did you see this? Like, oh my God, you seen this? You seen that?
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's not playing well. He has to step up. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you tweet that and you switch to another game, he starts snapping. And then you're like, I just like, come on.
Basketball galore. And hey, there's I don't know if you saw the clip of the guy when his vows were, I plan to do this, in March.
Funniest video
through March Madness.
March. Hey. Yeah,
that's what it is, man.
You gotta live through it, and you can't be mad. And
this man put it in his vows. He's about that life. Man.
I was like, I need to add that to mine one day.
Exactly. Me too. One day you got to do that, man. 100%. But hey, this is the 94/50 / first attempt podcast March Madness breakdown, Sweet 16. Hopefully we can do this again for the Final Four, man. It's supposed to be a great weekend of basketball, and hopefully everyone's bets go through. Hopefully everyone's bracket gets saved really soon, man.
Next week. Let's do it next week. I think it's another one. Perfect timing, right? Especially,
absolutely.
I'm pretty sure the regional finals will be regional finals is the Elite 8. What am I saying?
Yeah.
But I'm saying the Final Four starts on Saturday. We can do it Thursday, Friday, Wednesday if you want. I'm
perfect time. Perfect time. Well, hey, cannot wait for that. You can find me at Graham_JB on Twitter, G_JB on Instagram. Ilya, where can they find you?
Ilya_Kurbanov 7, because there's apparently other 6 Ilya Kurbanovs in the world that
done those guys off.
Twitter. But if you want to find my podcast, you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. 94/50 podcast on all 3 platforms. Give it a shout, give it a listen. Can't wait to more podcasting as soon as the March Madness is done.
Cannot wait either. Hey, this is their podcast. Enjoy the madness. Keep balling.